the three-step system the world's most successful people use to make a lot of money. Here's the thing. I'm going to break this down. It's really a two-step system, but there's a third step that a lot of people miss. We're going to cover that here. So, three-step system, or the two-step system. First, A, you have to learn how to generate more money. B, you have to learn how to not lose money. Remember, Warren Buffett says the first rule of investing is don't lose money. The second rule of investing is see rule number 1. This is more fundamental and more simple than you guys have any idea. And it sounds easy. Hey, don't lose money. But the thing that I see holding so many men back right now is they're focused on investing. And they're focused on, oh, I've got $10,000. Where can I put this money? I've got $100,000. Where can I put this money? I've got $1 million. Where can I put this money? And instead, if you look at the world's really successful people, they focus on generating more money, having the skills to actually continuously kick off cash flow. I mean, think about people like Grant Cardone, Alex Hormozy, anybody in that space. Dude, they kick off cash flow like crazy. And that's how people go from nothing to something. You rarely see a self-made millionaire who doesn't have some sort of business that kicks off crazy cash flow. That's kind of the name of the game, right? So I want to cover the three things that actually can get you there. Because obviously you have to increase your skill set. So that's the first one, or that's actually really the second one, of increasing your cash flow. And in order to increase your cash flow, you have to increase your skill set. Now, a lot of people talk about this today, and the thing that holds people back here is they don't know which skill sets to actually improve. And most people are thinking hard skills. Well, maybe I need to get better at Excel sheets, or maybe I need to get better at sales. And yes, these things matter. These are hard skills. You do need these things. But it's really the soft skills that are more important in the long run. And that's influence, persuasion, building rapport rapidly. Those are the soft skills that allow you to get really good at the hard skills. And then also understanding the skills that you need to learn. Because the thing is what holds people back more than anything, bro, is they don't know what they're trying to do. They don't have clarity. They don't have a clear goal. And so they're just out there and they're like, oh, well, I'm trying to upgrade my skills, but they're not going about it in a strategic manner. You're not modeling somebody who's successful. You're not finding the key things for a clear goal. And so you're building skill sets perhaps that may not have any use or any value. And then you could be working on things that are out of prioritization. You could be working on things that will matter at some point, but they just don't matter right now. So it's critical to have a plan, and that's just strategy. I mean, strategy is just your priorities. What are you going to focus on today that will move the needle, that will develop the cash flow, that will create the business and the things that you want in your life? Well, you have to upgrade your skill set. But in order to know the skill set that you need to upgrade, you need to have clarity about what it is you're trying to achieve and exactly where you need to spend your time, in which order, so that you can achieve that. And this is a big thing that I see people do, is doing the right thing at the wrong time is not the right thing still. If you're working on a strategy, but you're doing something that would be the right thing to do in a year, but you're working on it today, you're not going to see the results of that. And then you're going to get discouraged and you're going to run out of cash flow or reserves or other things, and you're going to burn out because you need to see progress in your life. That's the fundamental thing, is people need to see progress. So gaining clarity, I've got other videos on this. I talk a lot about clarity. I talk a lot about goals. I talk a lot about how to get yourself there and how to create a constraint system so that you can actually get the clarity that you need so that you can focus on the things that matter most in order to actually live the life that you most want to live. So first thing, upgrading your skill sets so that you can focus on generating greater cash flow. Forget the investments right now. Start investing in yourself. Start investing in the things that you need to do so that you can start actually kicking off the cash flow that you need so that you can live the life you're trying to live. And I don't mean going out and buying Lambos and, blowing money, but it gets you out of that place of scarcity. It gets you out of that fear, and it gives you time. You've got to have time to be able to create strategy, to have clarity, to figure out your goals, to work on higher level things. That's another thing. I see so many business owners that I talk to. They're stuck in their business. They're doing all of the things in their business. They're not working on their business. And because they're not working on their business isn't growing. They're not actually having the growth that they want. And in today's environment, oftentimes that means they're falling behind because other people are growing at a much faster rate and they're not keeping up. So you've got to get that clarity so that you can work on the right things at the right time so that you can start working on your business, on your life. And then part two, and there's a part that precedes both of these that's more important, is don't lose money. That sounds really simple, but imagine it like this. Imagine you make $1 million, but then you lose $500,000. Well, that's a 50% loss, but you need 100% return in order to make another 500,000 to get back to $1 million. Does that make sense? That's actually 100% of the money that you have now. You've got 500,000 and now you're trying to get back to $1 million. And so the best in the world understand asymmetric risk reward. And so many people end up losing large amounts of money because they don't understand this principle. And it's great to be kicking off cash flow, but if you're kicking off that cash flow, but it's going in places that is not generating a return and instead it's going into losses, then that's going to disproportionately affect the wealth that you build in the future. If you look at somebody like Warren Buffett, he's great. Ray Dalio, if you look at their drawdowns are very low in their life. And what you see with, shall we say, so many normies, so many commonplace people in this country, what happens is they have these massive drawdowns continuously through their life. They build up the reserves, they build up their savings. Maybe they've got $500,000, $1 million, and they think they're doing pretty well. But then they lose half of it because they haven't built the skill set to keep generating the cash flow, to keep upgrading in the market that they're in, to stay competitive. And so they have a 50% drawdown. But now they've got to get back to that state, and it requires them doubling where they're at. And that keeps people stuck. Because if you doubled $1 million to $2 million, well, that's $1 million gain. That's 100% gain. But so many people are kept from their goals by their drawdowns, by not focusing on asymmetric risk reward. And here's the real crux of this that so many people miss. The first step, because I said it was a 3-part system. The first is generate massive cash flow. And you do that by upgrading your skill sets, finding your right niche, having clear goals, focusing on the priorities, on what the things that you need to be working on today, and then realizing, hey, you don't need to have massive drawdowns. So focusing on limiting the drawdowns. And the things that leads to the most drawdowns, the thing before either of these, is actually having a degree of self-development. Most people's drawdowns aren't a product of simply being unlucky. It's a product of a lack of self-development. They haven't built the systems in place for themselves to have a powerful operating system, and it's sabotage. Most often, it's self-sabotage within them, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that they don't feel worthy of the level that they're at, and so they knock themselves back down a level or several levels. And you probably know people in your life that have done this. I certainly know a ton of people. I've personally done this to myself over and over again throughout my life. Self-sabotage has been one of the biggest things that has held me back from massive growth up until a few years ago, because I would just continually knock myself back down. I didn't feel worthy of it. I didn't feel good about it. And so you probably know these people. They start doing really well in business. You probably have friends, family that do really well in relationships, and then boom, they sabotage. So this is kind of the holy grail of really becoming ultra successful. And I say that because if you can cut out the sabotage, if you can cut out those drawdowns, you can grow at a compounded rate. And most people aren't getting the compounded rate out of life because they haven't done the work to stop them from sabotaging their own lives, their own relationships, their finances, their business, whatever that may be. And so they're the bottleneck. And that's, with so many people that I talk to, I know so many people that this is a common theme in their life. So that's the first step, is actually getting that degree of self-development so that you can stop the sabotage, because that's the thing that holds you back from building those skills. It's like a lot of people will go and be like, okay, I'm going to start building these skill sets. And then they'll stop halfway through. They get discouraged. They have all the problems that I was just talking about. And that's the sabotage. And then they lose large amounts of money, or they lose large amounts of time, emotional energy in relationships, or they do really well with their health, and then they sabotage over and over and over again. And it's like a record on repeat. And so what I want in this video is to hopefully give you some tools so that you can understand these fundamental drivers. If you look at the world's best, they figured out a way to not self-sabotage at that level. They figured out a way to go to the next level and the next level and the next level and feel worthy of it, and feel like every time it's just a level up. And so they don't have the massive drawdowns. They consistently compound their returns so that what they're doing over time, they have this compounded rate of growth that most people aren't getting. And self-development, inspecting those beliefs, cutting out the sabotage, cutting out the self-limiting beliefs, cutting out the lack of focus on that. And so many people, they're trying to focus on higher level strategies, higher level things that they think are going to take them where they want. And Charlie Munger has this great saying, everybody's trying to be so smart, and I'm just out here trying to not be stupid. It's such a good quote because it summarizes what we see so much in today's society. Everybody's trying to be so smart, and yet they're not focusing on the recurring or redundant losses. And it's those redundant leaks that ultimately keep people from building a massive life, having wonderful relationships that span years, that are super fulfilling, from starting a business that really they own and they run and gives them fulfillment and meaning, and solves a big issue in the world that people need. And so, guys, those are the three things right there. And so the first one that I personally start with, and this is my own journey, some people go about it differently. The first thing is you start with the self-development. You start with getting control over yourself so that you're not your own worst enemy. Your own worst enemy. You are your greatest advocate. You do have this sense of worthiness. You do stop the sabotage so that you can keep your commitments, that you can have integrity, that you can build the skill sets, that you can stick with it, that you have the discipline, that you don't have the sabotaging behaviors, so that then you can compound those skills, start kicking off massive amounts of cash flow, and then consistently not have large drawdowns in your life because you've learned how to make better decisions. You've learned how to ask better questions. You've learned how to become more resourceful so that you don't have those massive drawdowns. And if you have those three things in conjunction, dude, your life will just start growing. And then that's when you see that hockey stick. It's a hockey stick up, and you're just like, wow, this person a year ago was barely making it or barely holding on or doing pretty well. Maybe you're making $1 million. And that's where in 12 months, people go from 1 million to 10 million, or 10 million to 100 million, or even 50,000 to 500,000. They're all equally life-changing no matter where you're at. So guys, pay attention to those things, solve those 3 issues, your life will explode. Just watch. Be great, everyone.